Thank you very much. How are you? Nice to see you. The orchestra, Paul.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Alan.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
You know what?
Richard.
You know, it sneaks right up on you. I mean, you start the year off and you think, oh boy, Super Bowl's coming.
Yeah.
You have New Year's Eve and you think, oh boy, the Super Bowl's coming. And then you get Valentine's Day rolled in there and you think, oh, more parties. And you forget what's tax time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tax time.
Oh,
how many of you how many of you intentionally don't pay your taxes? How many of you don't? Me neither. I'm not having that much fun. You got a good accountant? You got to get yourself a good accountant. Whenever I go there to my accountant's office, I'm always taken up in the elevator blindfolded. I don't know why. Blindfolded, up in the elevator. My accountant says, look, Dave, in the event that you are audited, I will see to it that you get a new name and a new face. I said, I'm worried about having money for retirement. He said, don't worry, you'll get your cut. Listen to this. I don't know what to say about this. First of all, if you're doing something for charity, you can almost do anything for charity. I think we can agree with that. If you say, oh, don't worry, it's for charity. Like if I'm caught going 110 miles an hour on 684, and the state police pull me over and I say, I'm sorry. So where do you think you're going? I say, well, I know I'm speeding, but it's for charity.
It's for charity.
Oh, okay. Sorry. There you go. Keep going. It's for charity. So anyway, Mitt Romney, you know Mitt Romney, two-time presidential campaigner nominee. Mitt Romney will step into the boxing ring, and he will be fighting Evander Holyfield, who, to my knowledge, has never run for president. Evander Holyfield, they're going to have a fight. Mitt Romney and Evander, all for charity, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Experts believe that Mitt Romney will last about as many rounds as Villanova.
Look how they turn.
So we have Ted Cruz has announced that he's going to run for president. Don Trump wants to run for president. And now we have a third name, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Now, maybe you don't know anything about, maybe you do. Well, we have a little thing here, a segment called Lindsey Graham, a man with a plan. Take a look.
What is the environmental platform of the Republican Party? I don't know either.
Man with a plan. It's we have Trump and Cruz and Lindsey Graham, and they're all running. It's all part of the Republican plan to make Jeb Bush look presidential. That's what. Get these ringers in there. And by the way, did you know that Ted Cruz was born in Canada? And remember all that stuff about, sure, it's a wonderful country, but remember all the stuff about President Obama and his birth certificate.
Yeah,
let's see your.
Right.
Well, Ted Cruz was born in Canada. Now, Canada has released this statement.
American voters should be aware that while presidential candidate Ted Cruz was in fact born in Canada, he has renounced his Canadian citizenship. One down, one to go. Canada, your friendly neighbor to the north.
Friendly neighbor to the north. Nothing wrong with Canada, my friend. According to a new poll, fictional presidents in films, TV shows, people pretending to be presidents, actors, fictional. Like, Paul, what's a well-known fictional president?
Guy who played a president in a movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, did Harrison Ford ever?
Fine, Harrison Ford. Fictional presidents are more popular than President Obama. And I thought, well, maybe things would be different if Obama didn't have to work with a fictional Congress. And now, time for great moments in presidential campaign speeches.
Right.
They are the kind of men and women Tom Paine had in mind when he wrote, "We have it in our power to begin the world over again."
As the scripture says, our eyes have not yet seen, nor our ears heard, nor our minds imagined what we can build.
Let me quote the movie Jerry Maguire.
You know, last week they said, hey, you know what happened up at the Vatican? The Pope performed a half a miracle. A half a miracle. They have people who will judge it. Is that a full miracle or half a miracle? Well, they performed a half miracle. Happened again yesterday. Here's another half miracle being performed by Pope Francis. Take a look.
February 11th, in the year of our Lord 2014, after a long day greeting faithful followers, Pope Francis turned sour cream and Lipton soup mix into delicious onion dip. This has been the half miracles of Pope Francis.
I could go for some onion dip right now. Look, he's back. He's better than ever, ladies and gentlemen. Paul Schaefer. Good to be back. Come on, James Franco is here tonight, everybody. We'll be right back. Thank you so much.
Keep it here for the top 10 little-known facts about Ted Cruz and James Franco. And now, inspirational message for grain farmers. Winnowing isn't everything. It's the only thing. The Late Show, sponsored by Ford. We go further so you can. On the dusty road.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Rockin' tonight. Thank you, David.
Yeah, that's right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here's tonight's top 10 list. A couple of weeks ago, Paul and I were lucky enough to be asked to perform at a little tribute, a little gala, a live show that was taking place at Avery Fisher Hall,
Right.
Lincoln Center.
Part of Lincoln Center.
Well, yeah, you've probably worked there before. It was my first time working at Avery.
Beautiful hall, isn't it? Beautiful.
Tremendous
theater.
hall.
Yeah.
Perfect, just ideal. And they said, would you mind coming over to rehearsal? And I said, absolutely not. I believe rehearsing is the key to a successful show.
How about... By the way, you never rehearsed this show. You have never set foot in this studio for a rehearsal.
That proves my point. Now listen. So Paul and I show up, and Paul's going to play the piano, and we're backstage, and the wings are always bustling with people during rehearsal, stagehands and other performers and people you know. Carole King was there, and somebody that Paul and I both know for a long time, Lou Adler,
yes,
who is an historic and iconic, a multi-honored music producer, Lou Adler,
yeah,
who's been in the business forever. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Produced everybody.
He has just produced everything.
Papas,
Yes.
On down.
Yes,
Johnny Rivers,
a key
Carol
figure
King's Tapestry,
in the
everything.
world
Yeah.
of popular,
Very much
popular music.
revered, yeah.
And I had remembered him from, I think he was on the old show or hanging around the old show or whatever. And I said, Lou, Dave Letterman, nice to see you again. He said, hi, Dave. And then spoke to Paul. Paul knows him and everything. So we're patiently waiting in the wings now for our rehearsal. And on stage at the beautiful grand piano is a 10-and-a-half-year-old kid named Justin.
Yeah.
And so Justin comes out, and we don't think anything of it. We think, well, obviously he's going to play the piano, and I bet he's pretty good. It's Avery Fisher Hall. So Justin sits down and begins to play a famous piano concerto, which I don't recognize. And not only does he play it, he elevates the piece of music to something perfect. It's perfection. It's literally jumping from the keyboard. The kid is a true prodigy. 10-and-a-half years old, and he does some of this, and then he does some of that. And then he goes back like, and I'm thinking, my son likes to play with Legos. So, am I right?
Oh, man. No, he really was a phenomenon.
It was the place, I'm telling you, you could have heard a pin drop. This kid is a genius.
Yeah.
10-and-a-half-year-old genius. Now, because I'm always thinking about my own situation,
Sure.
I think, holy crap, we have to follow Justin
Gotta
on the big
follow
show
this.
tonight.
Why?
And of course, Paul and I got nothing after the 10-and-a-half-year-old music
how do you
prodigy.
follow? You can't follow.
I mean, it would have been 9 or 10 encores, and then a couple of more piano concertos, and then Paul and I would have been in a cab.
And here's our top 10 list.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that?
So I see Lou Adler, and everybody backstage is stunned, and I say, Lou, come here. And now, to express my concern about having to follow the kid, I make the following joke. Intended as a joke, delivered as a joke. I say to Lou, get rid of the kid.
It was hilarious because the kid is brilliant,
Yes.
and he's obviously going to steal the show.
Sir.
And he's a huge up, and the thing is all about kids
It's crazy,
and their talents and everything.
So now we all laugh, and I'm not paying attention, and we're one thing or another, and I realize I don't know where Lou has gone.
Right.
I look out on stage, and here's Lou. Here's where the kid is. Here's Lou. Look, we're going to have to, we're just going to,
Yeah.
can you just get out of there?
He's Xing him out. Firing him. Took you serious.
He's running the kid.
He took you seriously.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing.
Oh, it was horrible. So now I run out on stage and I say, for the love of God, Lou, it's a joke. Let the kids stay.
I know.
But I mean, he had him out the door.
When the king speaks, it's the king's speech.
You can't go anywhere. And then you tell that story, and some people say, well, that's a mark of a good producer. But he had his arm around the kid.
Oh, it was so sad.
See that over there?
Oh, yeah.
He don't want you on. You got to have your mom swing by and pick you up, because you're not going to be on the show. You know what I'm saying? You're not on this boat.
Oh, my God.
Can you take a later flight? Because you're not going with us.
Yes, I was.
No, him, over there, Letterman.
I was devastated.
Did we open the thing or not?
It is open, sir.
Okay. The category, little known facts about Ted Cruz. That's what we were talking about. Ted Cruz.
First of all, he's Canadian.
Yes.
Born in Canada.
Born in Canada.
So Canadians can now run.
If one of your parents is American.
Oh, that's what it is.
And the other, his father, I believe, immigrated through Cuba to the United States.
Okay.
And here's a man who staunchly opposes immigration.
I see. That's good.
Little known facts about Ted Cruz. By the way, that night the kid went on and stopped the show.
Of course.
He was tremendous.
Oh, yeah, of course he did.
Yeah. Little known facts about Ted Cruz. Here we go. Number 10, was never elected to Congress, just started showing up. Number 9, loves his home country and America. Number 8, Not Mormon, but still wears special underpants. Number 7, vows to stay in the race until offered a spot on Dancing with the Stars. Number 6, filibusters in his sleep. Number 5, TED. TED is short for tedium. Number 4, uses teeth whitening strips and hair blackening strips. Number 3, already planning 2020 failed presidential bid. Number 2, his wife affectionately refers to him as Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz is someone who tells the truth.
Thank you, ma'am. And the number 1 little-known fact about Ted Cruz has just as good a chance of winning the Democratic Party's nomination. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with James Franco. Thank you, Paul. Yeah. Our first guest is an Academy Award-nominated actor starring in a new film entitled True Story. It's in select theaters on April 17th. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome James Franco. Thank you for being here. Welcome, and welcome again.
I just want to say I'm so happy I made it before.
Well, we're happy to have you here, and thank you very much for fitting
number
us into
10
your schedule. Oh, good.
And you were my first real talk show.
Well, good.
So
I'm very happy to hear that. And
I was taught how to do talk shows right here.
And you've always done a great job, by the way. Now, you're the kind of man who's always has activity around him.
Yeah.
You're always busy. You're multifaceted.
Very true.
And people talk about what you do. They follow things you do. How has your year been? And I'm speaking about the movie The Interview, and other things. Now that you've come through that.
Yes. Thank goodness.
What are your reflections?
Let's see. I mean, there were a lot. I mean, it was sort of unprecedented. It was kind of a historical thing. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of strange things about it. You know, the fact that it was a comedy and a comedy was getting that kind of attention and response.
Sure.
That there was hacking over this kind of thing. You know, I think the executives were confused. Then when there, were these threats of violence. I think that, the theaters were,
you have to take
confused.
those seriously.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think everybody was really taken off guard, Seth and I included. But, it's not like...
Now, let me ask you this. If it had been me, I would have thought, oh, God, what have I done? I would have felt so guilty. Now,
why, though? I mean...
well, that's the way I am.
I mean, you say stuff here all the time that, if...
I know.
I'm sure if Kim Jong-un watched the show, he could get just as mad over something else.
But did you guys ever, did you and Seth ever say, oh, we've done it now? Did that ever occur?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when they start, saying this, it's not going to be in theaters, we're pulling it out of the theaters, and, we're giving you security guards, and then it's sort of like, but
did you think
I also
maybe
feel like
we'll never work again as one of those deals?
No. I mean, we never felt like we were irresponsible or doing something wrong.
Right.
We made a comedy. Mm-hmm. And we weren't going out on a limb saying, there's some messed up things going on over there. I think pretty much the rest of the world agrees, like, it's not right over there. So And the way Seth put it, it's sort of like it would be irresponsible not to say something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, so I think as, you know, as time goes on, maybe we'll be better prepared as a country or just as a world to kind of deal with these things. But it was the first time. And
well, it's very interesting because there is that fine line. We're talking about free speech. And free speech runs right up to the notion of you can't stand up in a crowded theater and yell fire. That's the old example.
Yeah.
So while
we didn't.
While you had
we didn't.
You had every right to release the film in theaters. Had every right.
Yeah.
Except for the possibility that there might have been something untoward happen. And then
that was the whole issue. I mean, that's the argument of the theaters, and you know, Sony got a lot of flack for pulling it, but in fact, it was the theaters who said we can't risk it.
Absolutely.
But in the end, it came out, nothing happened.
Yeah, and so they must have the numbers on this. I don't know what the budget of the film was, but how did it do financially? Did it break even? Did it fall short?
It did well. I mean, you know, I think it broke all the records for an online release, but it was tracking so well. Like if it had gone out in theaters, it would have just been enormous.
Been over $100 million probably?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And do you know what it ended up generating? I mean, can it make money if it's released online like that?
Yeah, I think we, you know, it wasn't a loss.
Mm-hmm.
We made money, but it would have been.
Well, as long as you didn't get hurt.
I didn't get hurt. I mean, I certainly feel bad. You know, Amy Pascal, the head of Sony, stepped down because of, I guess because of the emails that were leaked. Right. And it's a real shame. You know, I did 8 movies with Sony with her. And she's a great executive and a great female executive. You know, that was a real shame.
But the world is certainly different. And if 9/11 had never happened, this probably never would have happened.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Everything's different.
Yeah.
There's.
Right, because
there's not much you can take.
I mean, that was the wording of the threat. Yeah.
There's not much you can take for granted in the way of security anymore.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't.
That's right.
Talk about it, make comments about it, expose when there's wrong, and especially with comedy.
Make it again, for God's sakes, make it again.
Yeah. I don't know what studio will make it with us, but we'll make it on our home videos.
Why not? We'll be right back with James Franco, everybody. We have some artwork.
Okay.
We're going to show them, and I want you to tell us everything that you were intending and what we should perceive as a viewer. Put up the first one. That says Fat Seal.
Keep them going.
Fat Seal. All right, the next one. Fat Squirrel. Yeah. Fat Stallion.
All those. Oh, they got Fat Corgi too. All those paintings sold at my show in London.
Now, you painted those?
Yeah, they're a collaboration with. I commissioned them from a pet portrait artist, and but I chose the subjects of these fat animals, and you know, I found humor to be an incredible tool, especially for me. You know, I do a lot of things, and if I go out and am super serious all the time, then it's harder for people to swallow. But if I add humor to these endeavors, you know, it kind of takes the edge off, and I'm able to kind of go in other areas that I wouldn't be welcome in.
Now, the interesting part about this to me is the idea. So you had the idea that let's get pictures of fat animals?
Yeah.
Or a guy contacted you?
I mean, it's sort of like when you do animation, you know, the guys on South Park can get away with so much because it's animation. You know, or even as an actor, in a certain sense, like when you're playing a character, you can get away with a lot more than if it was just me. So by painting animals, I'm able to kind of, you know, do more than I could if I was just painting people.
Right. And Now, these, to me, the fat animal series represent...
You're really into those, huh?
Well, I mean, they represent whimsy and perhaps a statement there about excess in our society.
Sure.
Do you have pets?
I'm a huge cat lover.
Do you have a cat?
I have one cat. I always get my cats in pairs, so I always get siblings. So I had two brother cats, Arturo and Harry, and they're huge. They must be like half bobcat. And my brother lived with me for a while. We're talking like, 4 or 5 years ago, and he fed them, and they slept in his bed. So he essentially stole their love, and when he moved out, he took those. So then I got these two black cat sisters, and I always name them after characters from literature. So this was Lux from the Virgin Suicides, and Max from Where the Wild Things Are, and because I thought one was a boy at first. They told me it was a boy, and then sadly one ran away.
One ran away?
Yeah.
Now,
because I always do indoor cats because I live in L.A. and if you let them out, there's coyotes in where I live.
Right. But now when I was growing up as a kid, we had cats and they would go for days and then they would come stumbling back. But you just can't do that anymore.
Yeah, in Palo Alto where I grew up, my cat could be outdoors. But in L.A. and New York,
it would not be uncommon for them to be gone 2 or 3 days, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your IQ?
I've never done it. I've never done a test.
No, you've been tested. But they typically, I don't think they tell the testee. I'm just wondering if you knew what it was.
I don't know.
I bet it's pretty high.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. What's yours?
It's about 80.
Nice. That's good, right?
Yeah. Yeah, low
awesome.
80s.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Low to mid 80s.
That's what I'll be aiming for.
That's where you want to be. All right, now let's talk about this film, True Story.
Yes.
It opens April 17th. Tell us about it, and then let's look at a clip.
So this is based on a true story, and it's about two guys, former New York Times Magazine journalist Mike Finkel, played by Jonah Hill, who was fired because he was a very acclaimed journalist, but he got fired because he made up a source in a story. And so he had nowhere to go. Nobody would hire him. And then by total coincidence, if this wasn't based on fact, you wouldn't believe it in the movie, this guy, Christian Longo, disappeared. His family was found murdered. And then he was found in Mexico impersonating Mike Finkel, New York Times journalist.
Oh, my.
And so he looked incredibly guilty, right? Like, his family's murdered and he's in Mexico. So he wouldn't talk to anybody. But the real Mike Finkel said, called him up and said, hey, you were impersonating me. I know you're not talking to anybody, but maybe you'll talk to me. And so he said, okay. And so it started this strange relationship between these two guys who had really nothing else going on. One's about to go on trial and one can't get hired. And so it starts this very strange relationship where they kind of play games with each other.
A fascinating story. Yeah. What are we going to see in the clip here?
I think this is the first time we meet.
Okay, yeah. Here we go. James Franco, True Story.
First impressions?
Yes, first impressions.
What'd you put down?
Brown eyes.
That's not very remarkable. Sure, 70% of the world is brown eyes.
I guess so. I don't.
There's a mathematical technique that will determine how ordinary a person you are. Not just your looks, but your whole life.
Really?
By my calculations, I'd say I'm pretty ordinary. I've been decent and regular for 92.88% of the time. But you couldn't tell that from reading the papers.
Excellent
So
scene.
it's what you would expect from, you know, me and Jonah Hill together, which is kind of cool.
Fascinating to watch, though.
Yeah.
Great acting on both sides of the table.
Yeah.
James Franco, ladies and gentlemen, you can go see that movie April 17th. Good to have you here all 10 times.
So great to be here.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back with Jake Johannsen, everybody. Thank you.
The classic.
Our next guest made his debut with us in 1987, and guess what? Tonight, this man is making his 46th appearance on our show. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? His new special, Pictures of My Dinner, is available at www.jakethis.com, and you can see him April 2nd through the 4th at the Punchline in San Francisco. Please welcome back our good friend, Jake Johannsen.
Hey, hi, thank you. Yeah, I've been, so it's 28 years that I've been coming on your show. Yeah, so that's, this it turns out to be my longest relationship. And, I don't think I've ever said that I love you, but I love you. And, yeah, I don't know what you guys are doing in a couple months when this is all over, but I have a podcast, and, I think I could get you on. I don't, show business has changed. It's been a while since you guys have been unemployed, so think about it.
All right.
I also, this is my longest relationship, but I also have a wife, and yeah, shout out. We've been married 13 years. She's great. I would not want to be married to anyone else. I heard about wife swapping. I know. Who would do that? It turns out all you can get is another wife. Right? I'm just saying I already have a wife, and I never had a boat. What would it be like to be a single man my age with a boat? Just for the summer, and then I would swap back for my wife in the fall. That's how I have it worded on Craigslist right now. Yeah, obviously I would not swap my wife. We're great. We have our relationship is sexual, and of course we're platonic, and that's the best. My wife and I, turns out now we're the same age as those people in the sex pill for men ads. I don't want to mention any brand names because I'm holding out for an endorsement, but. We're that same age. You watch those ads, and they kind of give you this idea that women my age could want to have sex at any moment. And men my age need to be ready. Like now. And it turns out, my experience, there's a lot more conversation. Everything there's schedule. Like Thursday is a possibility. We have a babysitter, but we have to come home right after dinner and get at it. Because otherwise, it's tired and it's all over. But that's the thing. We gotta have conversations about everything. That's being married, having a kid. Every day you got to have this logistical debriefing. In the morning, where are you going? When are you coming back? What are you doing? Can you pick this up? Where'd you go? Why didn't you answer my text? Where are you going? That's my least. I'm 54 years old. It's never like, well, I'm flying a helicopter to a stripper's house, and yeah. We're going to kill a bear and make it into sausages. So that's where I'm going. Do you want to come? It's where you go. You're right. Why do I have to say it out loud? Why do I have to say where you go? I'm out of gum. I need more gum. It's always something like that. And then I'm out, I come back, and if I make a mistake, I forget something, I'm in trouble. My wife always acts like I'm doing it on purpose. You know, she's always mad at me, like, why the hell would you do that? Why the hell would you do that? As if, you know, the answer is, you know, because I'm part of a think tank to ruin your dreams. You know, we're brainstorming stuff all the time, you know. I said I'm trying to make your dreams come true. I'm not doing these things because I'm some kind of monster. It's because I'm a moron. Right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying I'm always doing my best, and maybe I'm not as smart as, you know, you thought that I was. So, is this how you would treat a special needs person? Yeah, because you're hurting my feelings. I don't even understand what's going on half the time. I had to apologize to my wife once where I said, listen, I'm really sorry, but I cannot promise you that this will not happen again because I still don't understand the difference between what I did and what you wish I had done. I thought her head was going to explode when I said that, but I do love her. You know, as much as I love my wife, I would not want to be married to two of her. That's the other. You know, those people, polygamy, people have two wives or two husbands. I feel like one spouse is definitely enough. But I'm a live and let live person, so, you know, I don't think polygamy should be illegal. I don't think polygamy should be a crime. I think it should be a punishment. As like a house arrest alternative thing that the judge can decide, you know, you screwed up, now you have two wives. Yeah.
46, huh? Johannsen, ladies and gentlemen. Happy 46.
Yeah, thank you.
You can see him at the Punchline. Great club, San Francisco, April 2nd through the 4th. Thank you very much for all the entertainment throughout the years. We certainly appreciate it. Jake Johannsen, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back.